So this, I think, is a really fun opportunity for us to find out more about you and what you do and sort of maybe some of your struggles and how you get through them. And people have submitted really good questions that we are going to go through right now with you, Corliss. So if I can get to them. First of all, how do I find what lights my fire? I'm 40 years old, have always lived for everyone in my life, and now I don't know what I am passionate about, but I feel lost. Where do I start? I think so many people hit this at some point in their life.
Yes, and it's interesting that they said 40 years old, because that vision board right over there, where is it? No, it's the one behind over here. You're going to notice on the bottom right-hand corner, it says first after 40. And what happened was I was exactly this person. So whoever wrote that, thank you. I'm not even sure who you are. But at 40 years old, I found myself having to recreate my life because I just didn't know. I had lived for my family, I had lived for my career, and I knew something was missing and I didn't know what. So I went back to the drawing board and was like, I don't know where I'm going, I need a vision board. So I was flipping through magazines and this little tiny ad appeared and it said, first after 40. And then I got this light bulb moment where I was like, you know what, why don't I don't know what I like because I've lived for everything else. So maybe what I should do is I should go and try things for the first time. Maybe I should go and take piano lessons because I've always wanted to do that and never had time or didn't have the means. Or maybe I should take Spanish lessons. Who says I can't? Because I genuinely didn't know what I was interested in. So it really took me taking the time to just let myself sit in it, first of all, that it's okay not to know. And secondly, my action plan became about trying things for the first time just to figure out what I did like. And I found my passion through doing that. I hope that answers your question.
So this one kind of ties in with that, but I just want to read them all, of course. But what was the moment that you remember was your aha moment and where you made that change? What was the main change that you made for yourself?
I stopped being a victim, and I remember exactly when it happened. I was sitting in a closet. I know that sounds really weird, but at that time, my kids and I had landed in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I have 3 kids, so there's 4 of us living in a 2-bedroom apartment. And this was, a dark time for me. So some of you have been through things that were much more difficult and significant, but for me, this was the hardest thing. It was the end of all my hopes and dreams of what I thought my life was, how it was going to go, and it was sad and it was scary, and my kids were looking at me saying, Mom, like, what are we going to do? And I was like weak, and I had this little closet that I converted because I needed an office and there was no bedroom available because people were sleeping in it, meaning my children. So I converted this little tiny office to this apartment closet to an office, and I was sitting in there, and I used to play this song, the fight song. You guys know the fight song? And I can make an explosion, and I'd try to psych myself up, or you can do it, you're strong, you can do it. And I remember sitting in there thinking, you need to stop being a victim to what's happened here. You need to stop grieving this. Your kids are looking at you, people are watching you, and you are being a victim. And I didn't like the way it felt anymore. And it was honestly in that little tiny closet office that I said to myself, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm bigger than this, I'm gonna rise up from this, and it's time for a new decision. So that's where it happened for me, was in that tiny little closet. And when I drive past that apartment, even now, I still think about what a rebirth place that was. It was bottom for us, and it was actually a restart. So it wasn't bottom, it was a new beginning completely. Grateful for it.
This person says, when you have cajillions of ideas for your business, how do you organize your thoughts and make a plan to move forward? Now this person says,
Watch out.
Go back to my master class notes, but do you have any other advice?
Yeah. So when you have tons of ideas, don't break my vision. Just kidding. It's actually plexiglass, it's fine. But when you have lots of ideas, I know I have a lot of ideas, and it's like, how do you channel it and focus it all together? I really understand that. So there's a couple of different things, and I learned this technique through writing a book, actually, and it was part of the training with Jack Canfield, because I had a coach. They ended up assigning me a coach, I think, instead of calling the 800 number. So I was like, that's a whole nother story. But this coach shared with me that what you can do is take all of these ideas. She said vomit them. That's what she said. But she said you take sticky notes and you literally vomit all of these ideas out on a piece of paper. A sticky note for what could be a possible chapter, sticky note for what could be a podcast, sticky note, sticky note, sticky note. And you put it all out there. And then you take your 3 main projects. So say it's book, podcast, and digital course. That's just in my case. And then I could take all those ideas that I had vomited out and put them underneath there. So then it's like I could see it. And it became this flexible way of, you know what, this fits better here as an idea. So it's like I got to see it all. And it was flexible and it was mobile, like I could move the ideas around, and it helped me gain a lot of clarity. So that is definitely something that I would recommend you do if you're that person with lots of ideas.
Love it. This next question, it says, I live with a spouse who does not connect to feelings. He is a fantastic person, so do not want to leave the relationship. What can I do to continue to grow as well as help him to begin thinking differently?
Well, I personally think that the most powerful example is when you lead by example. That's what I think. So I think if you've got someone who is in your life and they're not, in alignment, you don't even necessarily have to have the exact same things, but you have to have your independence, and you should have the freedom to be able to live what means something to you. So be that. Be that and ask for support with that. So if you've got a goal, pursue that goal and tell them that this is important to you, ask for their support, and then go and do that. Because ultimately, your happiness is not up to your spouse, your children, up to anyone else. Your happiness is up to you. So if there's something that's missing, then take ownership of it, decide what you want to have, and then go and do it. And you don't need to ask other people for permission. Remember, I'm divorced, so you may not want my advice on this, but this is my real perspective on it, that I think the healthiest of relationships are ones that you support each other when it's important. So communicate it, share it. This is important to me. I want to do this. And I just ask for your support, even if it's not something that is important to you.
Very good. How can I learn to become a public speaker, and how did you learn?
Crash course. I used to go into every party light presentation that I had to do. It's so ironic that I'm speaking publicly, because I would go into the bathroom before I had to start, and I would be like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I'd talk to myself, and then I would come out in show mode. Do you remember that? I'd always ask the host if I could go to the bathroom, because I'd have to mentally prepare myself. So I would come out in a mode ready to present. I did take Toastmasters for a very brief time, and just recently, I would highly recommend it. It's very organized, and it's a very good program. It's been running for, hundreds and hundreds of years. So if you want to get really good with public speaking, then go and take Toastmasters and learn the skills that they teach. It's public speaking. Okay?
Will you come speak, speaking of that, in a small community, a mini version of Lead Your Life? We feel your message is so important to spread.
That's an honor. Thank you, whoever wrote that. Yes, I'm going to Assiniboia on Tuesday to speak in Assiniboia. I think Assiniboia is pretty small. I'm not sure. I've been to Yorkton. I've been to many different communities. It's public speaking. I don't know. You guys tell me. Should I keep going with that? That's the thing I should do? I feel like it's what I'm put here to do. And I feel like it's a gift, and I'm going to honor it, and I'm going to go with it. So yes, of course I would. There is fees involved, obviously, in most cases, but I do reserve the right, when something's really important to me, to make a decision and charge whatever I want. So that is, of course. And I appreciate the fact that you feel the message is one that needs to be shared. Thank you.
What is your absolute favorite moment in your life?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say something really wrong, and it would make Shane die.
Oh, no.
So sorry, I just went there. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to think of a happy moment. I know when it was. I knew I'm in this bad relationship. I knew it was going to end. My kids are sleeping. And this baby gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning every single day. And I remember just holding him and looking at his face and the lights filtering in from the street lights. And it is the most glorious moment of my entire life, is looking at this baby that I know God sent me. That's how.
Well, kind of on trend here, it says, how do we let go of negative people? Subtle fade, tell them why in a kind way. There's this saying I love, say what you mean, but don't say it mean. Right? I love that one. Or scream and run. What is your best way to let go of negative people?
I think that's a pretty loaded question. I think it's a great question, but it's so dependent on the situation. I mean, to leave your mother or your spouse or your child is a lot different than I'm going to get away from that coworker. It's like, so I feel like that's such a big, broad question. I think in order to answer that properly, I'd almost have to know more what the situation is. But you always have a choice, right? You can spend time with people that are pulling you down, or you can have a conversation with them that you can learn a language. You want to learn the language that I learned to share, or I learned to say when somebody was saying something to me that was hurtful. I started this language. You might want to write this down. I would say to them, when you said that, did you mean to hurt me? Was that your intention? Can I have a Kleenex, babe? So I had someone in my life that was hurting me all the time and saying such cruel things, and I would usually react. That's good, thanks. I would usually react, and then I stopped doing that. Because remember, E plus R equals O, right? So I changed my response. So I started saying things like, you said that, like that really hurt. Did you mean to hurt me? Was that your intention? So you can start saying things like that, and that's a kind way of actually showing someone else who they're being.
I love it. Oh. And I feel like there were many questions in the pile surrounding that.
Okay.
So just so you know that we're not forgetting about you, but I think you've touched on
Okay.
the questions there that were similar. And so how do you stop from getting stuck? If you are grateful and mindful of what you are doing, is there something yet you practice in particular?
Absolutely. Every single morning. I can tell you the mornings that I don't do it is the days that I'm not as on as other days. You need to get up with intention. You need to get up and you need to set your intention for the day. You need to remind yourself who you are. You need to close your eyes and consider your goals. You need to do a brief moment of meditation and get present and grateful for your life, and then go and live your life that way. But that is something that I do ritually. You will hear that over and over and over again, from Tony Robbins to Jack Canfield to Rachel Hollis to Carolyn Saldo to everybody. You'll hear Robin Sharma. They all teach the same thing. A morning, start your day intentionally and have a routine in the morning, whatever that is for you. It might be journaling, it might be meditating, it might be exercising, whatever that is, but start your day for you. Before the chaos and life hits you and life gets to take over, you get up and make some decisions about you, get centered on you, and show up present in your day. That's what I do.
So last question.
Yes.
How do you stay so young and beautiful?
Oh, come on. You get a prize. Who was that? Who was, oh! He's remembering the moment, too. Oh, okay. Well, you know, that drugs, I would normally not talk like this. This is all well not going on right here. Oh, okay. I don't even remember what the question was. What was it? Oh, yeah. Okay. I've made some really big choices about this. I'm almost 50 years old. So when I started looking at how things were starting to fade, and they are starting to fade, I mean, that's what's going to happen. You get older. It's like a plant is the most beautiful when it's in its youthful growth stage, right? And everything beautiful fades. It just does. And for most of my life, a lot of that was dependent on how I looked. That's where I had some power. And I valued myself based on how I look. And then things started fading, and I started going, oh my goodness, if I don't have that, then who am I? And how am I going to be important, right? It's like, how am I going to stand out? But here's what also happened with that, is that I realized that what's on the outside is way less important than what's on the inside. And that was a big growth opportunity for me, because that matters way less than it does about how I feel about myself and what I contribute to other people. Having said that, I've also made some decisions to not do a whole bunch of cosmetic stuff to change things. I've actually made a decision to grow old gracefully and love the fact that I get to live, because other people don't get that opportunity and I get it. So I'm going to focus on that.
Well, we're grateful. Thank you for sharing so open and honestly and sort of giving us an insight, to the ways that you can get out of being stuck and for staying young and beautiful and just being the beautiful person you are. So thank you.
Thank you.